What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Courting. A pretty bizarre little turn of events had a crew, which included Robert Smigel, who performs as Triumph, the insult comic dog, which is always pretty hilarious. Crew of Stephen Colbert cronies getting arrested at the Capitol just last night for, I'm not exactly sure. They were filming some stuff there. They did not have, they were unauthorized to be there, from what I could tell. And, some people are pointing out the fact that, Stephen Colbert's staff had insurrected. Tucker Carlson's Colbert production crew committed insurrection. Fox News anchor Tucker Carlson accused CBS host Stephen Colbert's production crew of the following. Last night, producers from the Stephen Colbert Show on CBS committed insurrection at the United States. Carlson said, referring to the producers' unescorted entrance into a House office building authorized, allegedly, by Adam Schiff, a Democrat. The comments were made in the midst of a series of public hearings that are going on at the Capitol. Thus far, the hearings have highlighted injuries and things of that nature. I don't care. Nobody cares about this stupid trial. The only thing I care about is the people that are getting put in jail for, this kangaroo court. But what's interesting is, like, they didn't belong there and they ended up getting arrested. And it's like, is there more to the story? By the way, just a quick reminder. If you don't currently have a VPN, private internet access is the VPN I use. And they have an absolutely massive discount. It's 82% off right now if you use the link in the description or pin comment down below. If you have Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, or whatever, any of these streaming services, you're only getting a fraction of the content that they provide. A VPN unlocks all sorts of content that you may not already be watching. Also helps protect your data, and private internet access is 100% open source. And it's the VPN I use. So if you haven't picked one up, make sure you take advantage of it before this massive sale ends. Link in the description. Quote, Carlson criticized Schiff for illegally giving CBS producers access to the Capitol complex, implying hypocrisy because Schiff had spent the last year and a half telling you that unauthorized violations of Capitol space are a coup. Adam Schiff illegally gave producers from CBS access to the Capitol, and then the crew, which includes the show's senior producer, director, comedian, and writer, remained in the House, Longworth House office building, after hours, and the point of them being there was for them to harass sitting members of Congress. It's true, actually. That is why they were there. The crew approached Representatives Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert in the office building, with Carlson claiming they went there to harass the two right-wing congresswomen. The PD told Fox that responding officers observed 7 individuals unescorted and without congressional ID in the 6th floor hallway. Now, let me tell you this. If these people were not left-wing media apparatus, they'd probably be locked up for a lot longer. Am I crazy to say that? Am I crazy to think that that's the case? That if these people were just you or I tooling around in the Capitol building, filming Congress people, that we'd be in some jail, like half the people were, without his sitting there without representation for how long? Now, the producers were arrested for unlawful entry, although Tucker said he should spend a year and a half in solitary confinement before going to court because of the precedent set by the trials of J6. Well, hard to say. It's hard to say that he's wrong. House Republicans, well, let's go to this. Our Late Show production team arrested at the U.S. Capitol while filming television stunt. They don't live by the same rules we do they? Now, okay, I like Triumph. I think he's funny. I think Robert Smigel is funny. The bit was probably funny. But they have to live by the same rules we do. Just because they shill for big pharma and the government, left-wing government, establishment government, doesn't mean that they should be able to live by a different set of laws as we do. The police at the United States Capitol have arrested members of the production team for the CBS show The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, who were filming a segment featuring a salty canine puppet voiced by comedian Robert Smigel. Now, again, if they were out in public and they had filmed this, or they were at like a presser and they did this, that's obviously totally fine, in my opinion. The fact that somebody basically opened a door for them to sneak in and go after these people, that's something probably worth looking into, I would guess. Here's the thing. Here's more details. The PD said on Friday that they arrested 7 people in the hallway of a Capitol building on Thursday night at a time when the building was closed to visitors. Okay, that's the first big point. Second, the people had already been told to leave the building earlier in the day. So they got a warning that most of us probably wouldn't get. They were in an area after it was closed, so they knew that they were breaking the law. CBS said that Triumph, the insult comic dog, the puppet that Mr. Smigel has voiced for years, has been at the Capitol on Thursday with the production team when they were detained by PD. At the time, the arrested team had finished prearranged interviews with members of Congress and were filming final comedy elements for the show. Now, I think if obviously these things were like prearranged, they probably had every right to be there during that. The 7 people were later charged with unlawful entry. An investigation is now underway in consultation with Matthew M. Graves, the U.S. Attorney of the District of Columbia, the Capitol PD, adding that more charges may be filed. Mr. Graves' office could not be immediately reached for comment on Friday night. This is what happens when you feel like you don't have to live by the same rules as everyone else. This is just these people running amok, doing what they want to do. You see, the Fox News host Tucker Carlson took a different view, saying on Friday that Colbert's producers had committed insurrection. It's exactly like what happened on J6, so we'll have to take a close look at the punishments that they get. Liz Cheney, call your office, Mr. Carlson said, referring to the Republican congresswoman from Wyoming and the vice chairwoman of the committee investigating last year's incident. We've got another committee to impanel. Mr. Smigel, the comedian who plays Triumph the insult comic dog, could not be reached on comment. CBS said that both Triumph had been at the Capitol with the production team for both Wednesday and Thursday. I don't know. This is a tough one. They were in there after hours. They had been told to leave, and they were still there. So, I understand 100% why people are calling for things like, here's Cernovich saying, if they aren't charged criminally the same as the J6 people, then more evidence of selective prosecution arises. Judges can only rig stuff so much before the judiciary loses all legitimacy. Throw the book at these trespassers. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, you see Postman Tucker explains how 9 of Stephen Colbert producers were able to gain access to the government building after hours. Members of the group were subsequently arrested. If you look at this article here, House Republicans accuse Adam Schiff of allowing Colbert in staff into the Capitol. Adam Schiff cronies snuck in Stephen Colbert's staff to the U.S. Capitol and facilitated unauthorized reconnaissance tours of GOP offices. And I said an official account for the House Judiciary Community Republicans. On the 50th anniversary of the Watergate break-in, Representative Adam Schiff's cronies sneak in Stephen Colbert's staffers and provide unauthorized reconnaissance tours of Republican offices throughout the Capitol Hill. They added in a follow-up message, which included embedded Fox News segment on the arrests by host Jesse Waters. I mean, part of me just wants to be like, oh, they were just memeing, but like, you just really can't. They don't get to do that. Like, you just, I mean, do I want to see Robert Smigel locked up forever? No, but I don't want to see like people who were, staying in the velvet lines at the Capitol locked up either. Was there an illegal reconnaissance tour or full-on insurrection? Did they go in? Did Stephen fund this? Is he being charged? I'm demanding answers. I think that's reasonable. This is what happens when you're like, you just think you're untouchable. And so I think you might have to make an example out of these people And Colbert might have to answer for paying for these people to break the law too, because this is the same law that us plebs would have to deal with. Only all of us would be locked up and sitting around for a year before we ever got to face a judge. Colbert's a loser. His show sucks. And I wish that the comic, I can't think of his name, the dog, that he wasn't wrapped up in this. Triumph. Make sure that if you haven't already, use the link in the description. Save big money on private internet access. Get protected today. 24/7 customer support. They're a strong sponsor for this channel. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.